Okay, so we talked about how this thing is good at drum sounds. So let's make some drum sounds. And this is an unusual situation where we have a patch that's doing something, but I don't necessarily know why certain things are working. So if you're watching this and you know why, please let me know. I'll show you exactly where it's sort of not making sense to me. So let's start with the beat. Okay, so we've got basically a hi-hat and then a drum sound. We control the speed with the sample and hold rate. Okay, so really cool. So let's break this down. Start here. We've got VCO1 set pretty low. You can see the pitches down here. It's just coming through the filter and it's being controlled by the ADSR envelope here. If I open up release, you start to get, more 808 type of sound. I've also got ring mod happening, so it's just the hardwired ring mod with oscillators 1 and 2. This is really giving us sort of our drum head sound as those two frequencies interfere with each other. Okay, so those two together kind of make the lower part. Then we've got hi-hat happening here, which isn't so loud, and then we've got an accented hi-hat over here. Okay, so that's the breakdown. That's sort of the three sounds that are happening here. So let me break this down. The sawtooth from oscillator 3 is going into the sample and hold, the noise generator input on the sample and hold. So what that's doing is sort of replacing sample and hold as a frequency modulator. So you can see over here on oscillator 1, I've got sort of the ingredients of a kick drum. We've got the envelope is assigned to pitch, and we've got a sawtooth wave also assigned to pitch. So, as we turn that up, we sort of change what's happening. And there's sort of a sweet spot here. Really what's happening, that sawtooth is kind of giving it its high frequency front end. And same thing here. As we turn decay down, we kind of get more of a dry kick drum. Okay, and then that's all affecting the ring modulator because these are all sort of wired together. The oscillator 1 is also going into the ring modulator. Okay, and you can see here, same thing over here. Oscillator 2 is using the envelope to pitch, which gives it sort of kick drum front end, fast attack, short decay, and if we add some release time, we get closer to what an 808 sounds like, even though 808s are sort of made with filters instead of oscillators. At least original 808s are. Okay, so that's the first part. The part that I can't figure out for the life of me is, let's start with what we can figure out. The internal clock is coming to the switch here, which is using the noise generator output, right? So I've only got one cable plugged into the switch, so this is just noise generator to switch, and then output of switch to this ring modulator input. So for all intents and purposes, this is just noise, right? So the switch, you see it has two outputs, but I'm only using one, so that's why it's not hitting every beat, right? Okay, so we're going back and forth. If we bring in the drum, you hear it's going twice as fast because we're losing one output here. So that's what's creating the accent pattern. Now, the part that I can't figure out is this multiple over here. We have the clock going in, that multiple going into the external clock input. We have the multiple going into the VCO2 input, which is, changing filter frequency. And then we also have it going into attack and release, which if we turn ADSR down, you'll hear this does nothing. So there's nothing happening. So I'm not sure what that connection's all about. The other thing is, we have 3 outputs going to 3 inputs here, because this is an input, this is an input, and this is an input. That's sort of what the box means. So I'm curious why this works, because it definitely is doing something. If we turn everything back up, we take this out, okay, we don't really hear anything, but if I unplug this, all of a sudden we hear something. So there's some kind of weird voltage thing that happens in here, even with 3 outputs and no inputs into that multiple. So we can sort of chalk that one up to the synth gods, I guess. But if you know why this works, please let me know in the comments. So that's my drum patch, and next we're going to talk about some generative patches. So I hope you enjoy.